Just a heads up, I did not have much time this week to do much editing, so this will be more of an audio review. Sorry about that. I promise the next time won't be as lazy. Anyway, on to the review. So I just recently finished Be the Beginning, and it was good, but clearly not without its problems. It has apparently been a while since I last saw something from Production IG, and after seeing this, I kind of regret that. This studio puts a lot of work in what they do regardless of the material they are given, and this particular material proved that they still got it. After the disappointments that were Ico Incarnation and the Silver Guardian, Be the Beginning was a breath of fresh air. The art and animation were just great, the music was awesome, and I really liked quite a few of the characters. For those who don't know, the co-director, chief animation director, character designer, and original creator, Kazuto Nakazawa, you may at least know his involvement in the making of Samurai Champloo, specifically the character designs. If you liked the way that show looked, you may end up loving this one, because wow does it look good. I am not exaggerating this when I say it's one of the best looking anime I have ever seen. Hell, even the smaller things end up getting some love, where most studios would probably just end up ignoring them, but just wow. The audio is on equal footing with the animation on all fronts as well. The acting was great, the music was kick-ass, and the sound design was right on the money. More on some of the music, the ending theme was performed by Marty Friedman and members of the music gods themselves, Man with a Mission. The song A Perfect World is freaking amazing, and it really complements the character Keith, who is basically a combo of Sherlock Holmes, Albert Einstein, and Gregory House rolled into one. The rest of the characters are pretty good for the most part. I found most of the RIS members to be rather down-to-earth and relatable, with their personalities and banter playing off each other well, which made them more of a cohesive unit. I especially liked Lily, who had a great dynamic with Keith, while Boris was the most relatable out of all of them, in my opinion. Also, Kyle is cute. I'm just going to throw that out there. Anyway, the weakest parts of the series come from the villains and the overall structure of the plot. To clarify, most of the villains weren't that interesting, honestly, and served mainly as a means to focus on only one half of the story instead of its entirety. The Killer Bee stuff ends up getting thrown out when something bigger comes along, which leads to two plots being focused on, the one involving a case connected to Keith's past, and the other relating to Killer Bee, and him trying to find someone from his past. I get what they were trying to go for, but trying to keep these two things connected to each other just ended up making it a convoluted Frankenstein's monster of unneeded contrivances, one of which being Killer Bee's origins. I personally became more invested with Keith's side rather than Bee's. Bee's story seemed to be pretty meh and kind of cookie cutter, while Keith's struggle to solve a case that had been haunting him for years felt a lot more gripping and personal. I actually began to sympathize with the guy when more information was brought to light. And this leads to the biggest problem I had with this anime. Focus. It felt like Nakazawa was trying to have his cake and eat it too. Of course, the writer apparently didn't have a lot of experience, so that could explain the way things turned out as well, but if they had simply chosen which angle to go with instead of trying to shoehorn in two almost unrelated stories, then this would have been great. As it is though, to add on to what I said earlier, it's basically like the OG Frankenstein's monster. A beautiful looking patchwork whose creators simply couldn't handle them properly. If more time were put into it, this would have definitely been an instant classic. As it is though, it is an enjoyable watch. And if you don't mind how the plot was structured, good on you. I just couldn't get into the Killer Bee stuff after a certain point is all. And regardless of my misgivings, it's definitely worth checking out in my opinion. If nothing else, the action was well done, and made the animation all the more breathtaking. There is a chance for a second season due to how it ended, so if they do focus more on the Killer Bee stuff, I personally hope the writing doesn't end up getting hindered as a result. Aside from that, there is bound to be something that keeps you engrossed in what's going on. For me, it was Keith in the RIS, and I can't stress enough how great the action in this was. That all being said, this gets a 7 out of 10.